Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Tyler. I'm a guitar player here on YouTube, and today I got a fun video for you guys. I'm going to be going over a little history, and I'm going to be giving you guys a review of the Kramer Baretta Special. I picked this guy up for $160 on the used market, so I'm going to be showing you guys a fantastic guitar under $200. But before I get into this specific guitar, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a history lesson on the brand Kramer and then this specific guitar as well. Okay, so Kramer got its start in 1976, and throughout the 70s they made their name in making really high quality guitars. And at the beginning what they did was they made aluminum neck guitars. So throughout the 70s, that's what they were doing, and starting in 1981 is when they put the first wooden neck on their guitar, and that specific model was the Vanguard, which is their take on a flying V. And ever since that started, that opened up a whole lot of more shred style guitars for the brand, instead of the aluminum neck guitars that they had been making in the past. And then right around 1983 is when Eddie Van Halen comes into the picture, obviously one of the biggest, most influential guitar players of all time. And he was kind of won over to the Kramer brand for a number of reasons, but the biggest thing that interested him was at the beginning, this was again 1983, Kramer was the first brand that was allowed to mass produce guitars with the Floyd Rose Tremolo, which he was a very big fan of because he was doing stuff that nobody at the time was doing. As far as different techniques, he could make sounds that people wouldn't even dream of making. And he needed pretty much cutting edge technology to be making those noises. So Kramer is what won him over. And then because he started being an ambassador for Kramer, in 1983 they got together with all the heads at Kramer, and they were like, okay, we want to design Eddie Van Halen a signature model to be his own signature model, and then it would also end up being the flagship model for the company, because obviously one of the most famous guitar players of all time playing that guitar is gonna make quite a bit of sales for the company. However, he really didn't want to play something that everybody else could get their hands on. He was more of a tinkerer in the sense that he wanted to put together his guitars himself with all his specs, everything like that. He wanted to make his own, so unfortunately he never did officially endorse the Baretta itself, but it was created to be his signature model. Everything on this guitar is inspired by him. As you can see, the humbucker is slanted, which was originally done on his Strat, and the reason he did that is because the pole pieces, which are the little circles that you see on the pickups, they actually lined up better with the strings at the slanted angle than at the traditional up and down. And then another thing that is Eddie Van Halen inspired is actually this headstock, which a lot of people might not know this. This was inspired by Eddie's original Ibanez Destroyer, which is a copy of a Gibson Explorer. So he loved the headstock on that guitar, so it was thrown onto pretty much all the Kramers come 1984. So throughout the mid-80s, not a whole lot of the Baretta changed. The body shape, the layout never changed. The only thing that really changed is this rounded headstock was around until just about 1986, and then in 86 the tip of the headstock became pointy, and the pointy headstock era was from 1986 all the way until Kramer closed their doors back then in 1991. And a lot of people don't know that Kramer actually went out of business for the better part of a decade. And that was in large part to lawsuits from Floyd Rose over royalties about the how much money he was entitled to for having the tremolos on the guitars. So the lawsuits was one of the really big things that kind of signaled the end for Kramer. And then on top of that, there was also a labor strike in South Korea in 1986 throughout the late 80s. And Kramer had to struggle to find a new place for their overseas models to be manufactured because the workers in South Korea weren't able to put together their the guitars that they were supposed to. So between not being able to build guitars and the money lost from the lawsuits, Kramer had to close their doors in 1991. And throughout the mid-90s, there were a whole bunch of people that tried to come in and buy Kramer. Michael Jackson actually was one of the big names who made an offer to buy Kramer. But that was turned down, and every offer was turned down until 1996. Gibson was the successful bidder, and Gibson, to this day, owns Kramer. And they started putting out the new Kramers in 1998. And back then, from 1998 up until 2009, they were only available on a website called musicyo.com. And that was a pretty niche market. They were not very successful. And then 2009, like I said, the Musicyo website was shut down. And Gibson made the promise, be like, hey, don't worry, we're gonna have Kramers readily available within the next couple months. And unfortunately, that did not happen. It took just about another 10 years for Kramer to be back where it is today, to where you can go into any Guitar Center, Sam Ash, whatever is local to you, and you can pick up a Kramer, which is fantastic that they're back, but unfortunate that it took this long. But I am happy that they're back and they're making guitars again, and I am a big fan of this one. So I'm gonna give you guys an up-close shot and give you guys a spec rundown on this Baretta Special. So obviously the main selling point on this guitar is it's under $200 and it's a Kramer Baretta. So you got everything that you want. You got Kramer on the headstock. You got a hockey stick headstock that's actually painted to match the body. You got a slanted humbucker, one volume. And the paint job on this particular guitar is incredible. The craftsmanship for under $200, you really can't beat it as far as just the visual aspects go. The fretwork, there's no fret sprout on either side, which is really good for, again, under $200. You are lucky to get something that plays at all without having to do a million things. The action came super low on this guy. Intonated well, no issues there. So as far as out of the factory, this is definitely performing well above the $200 price point. And as far as specific specs, this comes with an Epiphone Alnico 5, zebra coil humbucker, and again, for the price, this humbucker sounds fantastic. I'm gonna get into a little bit of a playing demo soon. And then it comes with a Strat style tremolo. Unfortunately, it does not come with the Floyd, but for $200, you can't really expect them to put anything like that on there. You got your very basic plastic knob. Strap buttons on these, not bad, not great. You could replace these for 10, 15 bucks. Not the end of the world, but it works. I have a strap and I have had no issues. The nut that comes on it is pre-cut. It's PVC. Another thing, if you really want to change it, it's a $10 upgrade. And then these tuners as well, they are die cast, just very basic tuners. They get the job done. You can upgrade them for maybe 50 bucks, but you really don't need to upgrade them if you're not doing gigging. If you're just playing at home, you don't need to really upgrade a whole lot on this. However, on the flip side, if you're like me, if you do like modifying guitars, making it your own, absolutely, this is 100% the way to go for a mod platform. You've got everything you want right there. You can throw a Floyd Rose, and there you can throw in a new pot, a new pickup, new strap locks, all that, and you'll still be paying maybe $400 or $500 total, which if you look at the prices of some other guitars is still well beyond getting your money's worth. So overall specs, this guy comes with a maple neck, maple fretboard. It's unfortunately not all one piece like Eddie's guitars. He had one solid piece of maple. This has got a, if you can see right there, it's a maple board glued onto a maple neck. And because of that, you don't have a skunk stripe on the back. The truss rod was laid down under the board, and then the board was glued on top of it. And I believe that's just about every spec that I can cover on this guy. 22 medium jumbo frets, and it plays really nice for under 200 bucks. I will say, however, that I'm spoiled in the sense that my #1 guitar is a Kramer from the 80s. So I will say that even though this neck is really good, it is not as good as an 80s Kramer neck. And if you've played an 80s Kramer neck, you'll know that those are some of the absolute best necks in the business. And I strongly endorse that. So now that I have talked your ear off, I am going to go ahead and show you guys how this sounds. I'm gonna be starting off on the clean channel, going through my little Orange Crush 20 practice amp. Okay, so I've got my clean channel on. First thing I'm gonna do is mess a little bit with the volume to see how responsive the pot is to turning. So start off pretty low. And right off the bat, I'm not noticing a whole lot of responsiveness, but luckily a pot you can buy for 10 bucks on eBay, Reverb, anything like that. So this comes standard with a 250K pot. All you need to do really is you can either A, buy a 500K pot and solder that on there, or you could B, open up the back and then find the little red cap, which is called the treble bleed cap, and you can go ahead and just clip that, and then that will make the pot more responsive. But other than that, I mean, the volume goes up, so let's just get into a bit of playing. Okay, and if you're anything like me, if you bought this guitar, you did not buy it to test out the clean channel, so I'm gonna throw on some distortion. Okay, so right off the bat, I am absolutely a fan of this. It plays like a dream. Like I said, it's not as good as an 80s Kramer neck, but for under $200, you can't beat it. I think it sounds fantastic. And again, it's a single pickup guitar. If you don't like the sound of the stock pickup, it'll set you back about $100 to make it sound like a professional grade guitar. But I am loving the sound of the stock pickup, so I'm gonna play it a little bit more. Okay, so I think that just about covers it. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching my video. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me out more than you would think. But other than that, thank you guys for watching and have a good one.